Word on the street is that managers are not getting pay equity training. HR is, but managers are not. Let's talk about it. All right, gang, so the pay gap still exists. I'm sorry, is that a spoiler alert for some? The pay gap still exists. White women are making 84 cents on a white male's dollar, which is actually an increase from 79 cents to 84 cents over the past 5 years. So congratulations. However, black women are making 69 cents on a white male's dollar, and Latin women are making 57 cents on a white male's dollar. Less of a kudos on that front, right? So there are still some major pay equity issues, and SHRM conducted a survey where they asked human resources representatives as well as managers, how familiar are you with pay equity best practices and laws for some states? Now, Workplace Change is headquartered in the state of Oregon, but we do work with about 7 other states, okay? Many of those states, most of those states, nearly all of those states don't have the same pay equity laws that Oregon, Washington, and California have. So it feels good to be in a state where pay equity is a requirement, where companies are required to do their part to understand that if 2 people are doing work of similar character, that they're getting paid similarly if they have a similar background, education, years of experience, etc. Meaning you cannot make $1 as a white male and be a white woman making 84 cents of that white male's dollar with the same background, the same years of experience, the same job title, and the same scope. Cannot happen. It is illegal in the state of Oregon, Washington, and California. Congratulations, West Coast, right? But here's the challenge with this. The challenge with the pay equity effort that's happening nationwide is that human resources practitioners are being trained on pay equity best practices, but managers are not. Okay. Now, some folks who have a really strong human resources presence, you might be saying, well, managers don't need to know. HR says, let there be light, and therefore there is light. Well, that doesn't happen in every ecosystem. Managers will come to human resources and say, hey, you're trying to tell me that we can only pay this manager X thousands of dollars per year. Let's say it's $100,000 per year, but they said they won't take the job. The person I want to hire said they won't take the job for under 120, and I want to make sure they get $120,000. And HR is like, well, the last 4 people, many of whom happen to be women, didn't get 120. They got 100 for doing work of similar character. And the manager will fight tooth and nail and kind of wear the HR person down and will get their candidate their $120,000. Well, therein lies the reason why the pay equity challenges continue to be persistent. Because we pick and choose who we want to advocate for. We pick and choose under what circumstances we're going to bend. It depends on how powerful a manager is, what level the leader is coming from. All of those things end up impacting my money, right? How much I earn in comparison to how much someone else earns. And then we also have to take into consideration the boldness that one may have to actually advocate for their own compensation. Now, I've had this conversation 1,000 times before, but I wanted to share with you some statistics regarding this. 75% of HR pros conduct pay audits to help identify inequities, but those pay audits are not enough. When you conduct the pay audit and you say, I'm looking at all of the analysts, 4s in our ecosystem, and I'm going to disaggregate their pay based on tenure, based on gender, based on race, based on department, because you may have a pay analyst from one department to another, but you know that the work is very similar. You do the analysis and you identify that, oh man, there are some pay disparities that exist here, where these 3 people should be all making $100,000, and yet one person's making $140, one person's making $100,000, and another person's making $120, right? You do the analysis. What next, right? Some people stop at the analysis. A lot of people stop at the analysis who are on the West Coast, because you can't just stop at the analysis on our coast. You actually have to do the work to fix the gaps. So what should happen is you should figure out how to either stop the growth of the folks who are at the 140, 120 until the person who has a similar background, similar years experience, same job, same education, until they catch up, or you catch that person up and, on the tail end to the people who are at the top part of the salary range. That's expensive to do, but we can talk to you about that. We work with right now we're working with dang near a dozen companies working on pay equity things across the United States of America. So this is something that we're very familiar with. Another thing to be aware of is that managers have got to become educated on these trends as well. It is insufficient to just train human resources on pay equity best practices and the importance of it. You've got to train those hiring managers and especially those executive teams on the importance of this work as well and what it means and what their role is in right sizing these things. And how if human resources says to you, there's some pay gaps that we have to make a decision based on, or we can't bring this person inside the organization where we just paid somebody else this amount unless we're going to raise them both up. When they tell you that, back off, right? Imagine that. HR told you the thing, and then you said, oh, okay, thank you for the information. That is important. That doesn't happen nearly enough. So the last piece of statistic I'll share with you is this. 9 out of 10 human resources professionals said that they've been trained on pay equity, but only 48% of managers said that they were trained on pay equity. 48% of execs said they were trained on pay equity, and 40% of managers said that they were trained on pay equity. You see that that's going to fuel tension, confusion, frustration, right? That's avoidable. Train the managers on this very important concept so that women can stop making pennies on the dollar of men. Not cool. Well, that's this issue of word on the street. If you got commentary, if you got an opinion that I have not considered, jump in there. I will join the chat for sure. Until next time.